All right, what is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast, real estate tip, where every single week I come to you delivering different tips, tactics, and strategies to help you get shit done in your real estate business to ensure that you are dominating and crushing your overall real estate goals. All right, so today we're going to break down and do a deep dive into what it takes to make over $40,000 consistently each and every single month as a listing agent. So if you want to go out there and make $480,000+ a year, so 40 grand a month as a listing agent, like what does this entail? And there's 9 specific steps I'm going to walk you through. And when I say these 9 specific steps, these are all just pieces of the puzzle that need to come together to ensure that you're having success with this. I mean, we got to know who to target, but then we got to know, where do we get the data from? What processes do we follow? What schedule do we follow? What answer rates do we need to get? How do we track our numbers? All of these things. So all of these 9 components come together in your overall kind of business strategy plan in order to make this a reality. But I'm going to break this down for you today, and we're going to do a deep dive into these 9 different steps. By the end of this podcast, you are going to know exactly how to go out there and make at least $40,000 each and every single month as a listing agent in the real estate industry. Hey, that's something that you choose to want to go out there and do. Now, real quick, before we jump into this, if you are an agent, realtor, team leader, brokerage owner, and you are looking to grow and scale your real estate business, maybe your business is down, maybe it's stagnant, maybe it's growing, but not at the pace that you want it to go to. You're operating down here, but you know your potential is way up here, and you just do not know exactly what you need to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. I then invite you to schedule a 100% free, 100% zero pressure Zoom coaching call with me personally. Now, this is going to be an hour-long Zoom call. Me and you, we're going to jump on this, and we're going to do a deep dive into your business. We're going to talk about where your business is currently at, what your 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals are, what you're currently doing, what your biggest obstacles are that you are experiencing. Then from there, I'm going to map out and walk you through what my recommended strategy is to get you exactly from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. So I'm going to make sure by the end of this hour-long free Zoom coaching call together that you will leave this with knowing exactly what you need to do to get from, again, where you're at to where you want to go. So if you're stuck, if you do not know exactly what to do, I want to invite you to schedule this, again, 100% free, zero pressure Zoom coaching call with me personally. And you can do that at www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call, www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Now, full disclosure, at the very end of the call, I'm going to spend a few minutes walking through some possible options, through my coaching program that I think might help you, that can give you the support and just accelerate your overall growth and your overall expansion. And look, if they're for you, cool. If it's for you, cool. If not, hey, that's okay too. We can still be friends. Here's what I promise you is that regardless whether you ever move forward with my coaching or not, this call will be extremely powerful. You will not leave this call without knowing exactly what you must do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. So you got nothing to lose, everything to gain. Again, www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. All right, so let's jump on into these 9 different things I want to walk you through on leading you to making over $40,000 every single month consistently as a listing agent. Okay, so step number 1 here is you must identify who you are targeting, right? So, and this is going to differentiate. So I'm going to kind of leave this one at a high level here, right? Because this is going to differentiate market to market. And by market to market, I do not mean from Phoenix, Arizona, the market that I'm in, to maybe you're in Rhode Island, maybe you're in maybe you're in Jacksonville, Florida. That's not what I'm talking about. Market to market. Market to market, I'm talking about economy to what we're seeing with the overall real estate market. Because who the market is good for, does it shift and pivot based on whether we're an up market, down market, and what we're seeing with the overall market. So here's an example with this. And this is really important. Each one of these 9 steps, man, if you don't get these things right, you're not going to go out there and make a lot of money as a listing agent or an agent in general, right? So please pay attention to these because these are extremely important. Okay, so let's just say 2019, 2020, 2021. you are doing a lot of circle prospecting to go out there and get listings. So circle prospecting, for those of you that don't know, is okay, I'm going to target this neighborhood, this subdivision, this geographical area. I'm going to get a list of all the homeowners in that area, and I'm just going to go out there and start calling all of those, or door knocking, or just, randomly hitting all of the homeowners, or not randomly, intentionally hitting all of the homeowners in that area. That's called circle prospecting, right? And look, there was an abundance of people selling their homes during that time. So even though it's a lower converting source, like no matter what, it's a lower converting source, you could still do pretty damn decent by building your business with that strategy, over the last decade. But then boom, middle of 2022 hits, interest rates go through the roof. We now enter the most unaffordable time to go out there and acquire real estate in U.S. recorded history. Most unaffordable time to be alive as a U.S. citizen in recorded history. Circle prospecting is now something that is extremely ineffective, extremely inefficient. When we got 2/3 of all homeowners locked in at 4% or lesser interest rates, it's like they may want to sell, but they're not willing to give up their 3% interest rate. So you went from this activity that was a decent yield, a decent return on your energy and time, to now today, like you're just going to be resistance, and not get a lot of results. So we got to make sure that we are targeting the right people based on the right markets. And what do I mean about the right people? Okay, sales is all about pain and pleasure. Who's experiencing pain? They want out of that pain. They want to pleasure. So speaking of real estate, okay, who's experiencing pain with their current living situation? And that pain is intense enough that they want to get out of that pain and get to their pleasure. Again, with the real estate situation, our job is to identify who is experiencing those pains and then articulate to them that we're the best guide to get them from that pain, to get them to that pleasure. Why is this important? Because whoever's experiencing the deeper pain, that pain creates urgency. In a market like we are in right now, lesser listings, lesser transactions, abundance of realtors, right? Very saturated, very competitive marketplace, right? With a lot less transactions, we need to focus on who needs to sell, not who wants to sell. There's a bunch of people that want to sell. We need to identify who is experiencing that big pain. Examples of these, okay, expireds and FSBOs. We may not understand and know their pains that they're experiencing, but it's a great niche to go out there and target. Always has been, always will be. Then from there, investors that own these listings, right? You got tenant evictions skyrocketing, you got rents coming down, you got insurance going up, taxes going up, HOAs going up, cost of maintenance going up. So that's pain. They're watching their cap rates just evaporate. Okay, so that's somebody I'm going to target right now to go after listings, because again, who's in the pain? Okay, NODs / pre-foreclosures. These are people that are 30 plus days late on their mortgage. If they don't sell and they don't sell fast, their bad situation is going to get a hell of a lot worse, right? So again, I'm just identifying who has the most urgency. Okay, so that's a great niche right now. Right? Another niche, those going through divorce. It's a unfortunate circumstance. It's an unfortunate reality, but the reality is when economic times get harder, financial times get harder, divorces skyrocket, right? So again, these are people that have the highest probability of needing to sell, right now. So we got to make sure that we are targeting the right people. So that is step number one, is making sure that you are targeting the right people. I have so many coaching clients that come to me, that are just, it's not even that they need to do more energy and effort. They're just targeting the wrong people. So I get them to target the right people, and we 4 or 5x their business in a 12-month span of time by just shifting their target. I do not care how hard you are sprinting. If you are sprinting east, chasing the sunset, you are never going to see it. You got to make sure you're targeting the right people based on what we're seeing in the market and we're seeing with the economy. Okay, so step number one is making sure that you have the right strategy. Okay, step number two then to this is making sure that you have the right process. So the right process, as an example, is, okay, how frequently am I reaching out to them? Then based on that, like let's just say their situations change, or for whatever reason, I can't get them to set an appointment with me. Okay, well then what is my follow-up protocol? What is my follow-up process going to be? So as an example, just kind of out of default, I call it my no time frame established call tasking drip, call tasking campaign. So when I have, let's just say, an expired or FSBO or these investors or whatever, right, I'm going to call them day one. Now I'm going to call them every other day for the first 14 days and every 21 days for that first year. That is the frequency that I'm going to follow until I get them on the phone. Then once I get them on the phone, the highest overall objective, with having that initial conversation is to establish their timeline, establish their goals, and if able, boom, going for that appointment. Now, if I can't get the appointment, then now I know what their goals are and what their timeline is. So then now I can establish what my follow-up protocol is going to be. If you want to maximize conversions and become damn good at just client acquisition, when this applies to buy side, list side, we're talking about listings though in this podcast. Like you gotta be good at the long game as well. Like we got to be good up front, having the ability to set those appointments up front. But you're going to have people that have life situation changes. Let's just say I'm calling an investor. This isn't a life situation change, but let's just say I'm calling an investor. They're like, hey, yeah, we do want to sell, but we have a tenant in there. Lease isn't up for another 6 months. So we're going to wait till we get the tenant out there. Then we're going to get the property fixed up so we can get top dollar, whatever. And that may be what's in their best interest, right? So we can get them top dollar for the property. Okay, well, what is the proper follow-up process for me to follow to ensure that when that tenant's out in 6 months, boom, I'm positioning myself to guarantee that I get that listing, right? So this is what I'm talking about process. So, what is our process up front to make sure that we maximize our conversation rate, to set those appointments. Then from there, for those that either aren't ready or their situation has changed, let's just say they were an expired, cancel, or withdrawn, right? And maybe they were planning on moving, but then with the economy, they decided to push off retirement for another 2 years. So now they're staying put. That's something that we experience, right? Like inflation going through the roof, people are having to push some of these things off and work an extra 2 years and maybe, build up Social Security for next, whatever that is. Okay. Well, objections aren't always just, an objection. Oh, I held off. Well, that's an objection you just need to overcome. Sometimes they're the reality of the situation. There are objections, concerns that are easily to be overcome. But sometimes when we start peeling back the onion layers, like these are just reality of the situation. Well, I need to then establish the right follow-up process to ensure that I'm not just getting kind of the immediate business, but I'm getting the middle of the road business and I'm getting the long-term business. So I'm making and maximizing the opportunities that I have to get their listings for whenever they are ready. So that's what I mean by process. You must get your process dialed in. Okay, then step number 3 is you got to know your daily, weekly numbers. So I said, okay, 40 grand a month. And now we are going to just make an assumption here that your average commission is 10 grand, just the easy math sake. And for a lot of markets, that's the case for a lot of people, right? So, okay, that's going to be 4 closings per month, right? So then based off of those numbers, I then know, okay, Monday through Friday, so daily, I got to be hitting 100 dials, 100 dials, and 10 conversations. So then from there on a weekly basis, I got to be doing 500 dials and having 100 conversations, right? So this is going to be based off of a 10% or greater answer rate, so then, okay, well then from there, if I have the right systems in place, I know I can do 100 dials and 10 conversations, and I can do that in about a 2-hour span of time, just under a 2-hour span of time. Right. So, okay, I got to make sure though that I'm hitting these daily KPIs Monday through Friday. And if something happens during the week, Monday through Friday, or for some reason I can't hit those, and I'll talk about schedule here in a minute. So that way you can ensure that hopefully you don't get distracted from these daily numbers. But worst case, if something comes up, or maybe I get extremely sick, okay, then I can make up for that deficit on the weekends, right? So, okay, then I know, okay, 500, dials per week, with that 100 conversations, right? So we're talking, 100 conversations, 100 reach outs, 10 conversations daily. So then, so 500 conversations, and then that would be, 50. So 500 dials on a weekly basis. So I'm trying to do math in my head. So on a daily basis, Monday through Friday, 100 reach outs, 10 conversations. Then, okay, Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. That's 500 reach outs, 50 conversations. Okay, that should yield you 4 appointments set. And then that should yield you at a minimum 1 listing taken, right? So then boom, okay, now I know my daily, weekly numbers. Okay, so that's step number 3. Okay, step number 4, like in order for you to do this effectively and efficiently, you're gonna need the right dialer. Right. So you got to make sure that you get a dialer. You don't want to use a dialer inside your CRM or a dialer that most of these data providers provide for you, because look, you need to make sure you are getting a 10% or higher answer rate. And a lot of, like, if you're dialing from your cell phone, here's what's going to happen. Number one, okay, I pick this thing up. I got to have a conversation with it. I hang it up. Then I got to, finger peck in the next number. Then I got to go, right? It's very difficult for me to do 30 conversations an hour from a cell phone. Now with a power dialer, and not a triple line power dialer. We do not want to use a triple line power dialer, because what we're up against very heavily right now, because of all these robocalls, is this spam issue, right? So then from there, we need to make sure that we have the right dialer. And there's only a few dialers out there, that really have figured out this solution when it comes to not being on, not getting flagged for this overall spam list, right? Because what's going to happen with your cell phone? Let me just ask you this. When you get a call to your cell number, and just think about what you do in these situations, and the caller ID says potential spam, what do you do with it? Right? Send a voicemail or block, right? Like, so you're going to get to a point where you're like, it's just a matter of time before you're going to get flagged as spam. Next thing you know, your answer rates are 2 or 3%, and it's just going to crush you. All of these little things add up, right? Like, if you want to go out there and make amazing amounts of money, it's not about just going out there and working a shit ton more hours. Right? You can make 40 grand a month pretty easily with 2 hours of intentional, outbound prospecting, time, which is the most effective way to go out there and get listings in the current time that we are in. But you got to, that's why I'm breaking down these 9 different steps for you. So this is going to allow you to increase your dials, but not just your dials. It's going to allow you to increase your conversation rate, because you're going to, obviously, more dials that we can make, more conversations that we have, but because they have workarounds, and not all of them, there's a lot of them that don't. So be very careful. So if you're checking into a dialer, like, make sure that they have a solution for the overall spam issue. And I do not know of any CRM. So if you're using my CRM comes with a dialer, I'm going to use it. I don't know any of them that are worth shit, right? So they're all junk. You're going to need a separate power dialer outside of your CRM that's highly effective. Okay, so that is what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's number 4. Okay, so then at number 5, you're going to need data. So you're going to need to, okay, like, where do I go out there and get the good data? And is it good quality data? Is it skip trace data? Got to make sure that, and the reason why I'm not going to go through all the data providers here is because, look, where I get my investor absentee owner data is different than where I get my expired data from. That's different than where you maybe get your divorce list from. It's different, so you just need to make sure that you're getting the best quality data from the best provider that specializes in that data source. But you're going to need to get the data to be able to reach out, that you can plug into your dialer, plug into your, systems, and have success with this. Now, it's going to be dependent on what the strategy and or strategies are that you are deploying. Because for me, and it depends on your market, but like for me, my market, Phoenix, Arizona, it's huge, almost 6 million people, well over 1 million, rooftops, over 5,000 transactions closing every single month, even while our market's down about 50%, but it's still in abundance, right? So with this, okay, like to sell a house a week, I could go just deep on expireds or just deep on FSBOs. I don't need to have 3, 2, 3, 4, 5 niches that I'm going after. Now, if I have a coaching client, let's just say, in a smaller market that only has 60,000 people, okay, they might need 2, 3, 4 of these to have enough opportunities, to be able to go and hit these numbers. So it's different for each of us, but making sure that you're dialing in the right data source, then from there, you got to make sure that you got a good CRM, right? Because with your CRM, like, I can use for my data source, I can use my dialer for that initial conversation. So I'm going to keep rolling through those for my initial conversation. But then after that, right, you're going to have a very small percentage that are ready, hot and trot, and ready to go right now. The vast majority, it's going to be, they're going to be a month out, 2 months out, 3 months out, based on how those conversations go, right? So then boom, we want to be able to set up. So like when I talked about these time frame established strips, so whatever they tell me for a time frame, I cut it in half. If I can't get the appointment right then and there, then boom, now I set them up my follow-up protocol. But inside my CRM, I'm able to just click a button, and my CRM tells me every single day who I need to call, why I need to call them, shows me what scripting to use. So I don't have to think about this stuff. Because like I said, you got to be good at the upfront game, the middle game, and the long game if you want to maximize conversions. And it will be an impossibility if you don't, have a great CRM like Perfect Storm or whatever CRM that you want to go out there and use. Perfect Storm is what I use, what I have. Check that out, perfectstormdemo.com. With that, and I have all my protocols, all my drip campaigns, all these call tasking campaigns already built in. So makes it super easy on you to rock and roll. Okay, so then from there, the next step here, and what are we on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, step number 7 is to make sure that you have the right phone prospecting tracker. By this, I mean, let's just say I'm going after expireds, I'm going after investors, and I'm going after, I don't know, those going through a divorce, right? Well, I need to track each of these separately, right? So I want to make sure I've got a good tracking system. Like for me, the reason I call it my phone prospecting tracker, it's, because I built it out and I provide it for, my agents, all my coaching clients and whatnot. So then that way we can sit there and see per strategy, per source, what your dial to conversation rate is, what your conversation to appointment set to appointment conduction to client to closing. We can see your overall conversion rates, but then within those, we can identify, what's broken, what holes in your bucket, what do you need to improve on? So then that way we can go out there and maximize on conversions. Like if you look at the average agent that's probably calling expireds, they're way less than 1%. As far as conversation, to closing, that's just shit. Yeah, right. Like in a market like this, you should be, it'll take about 6 months to build up to this, but you should be getting like a 6% conversation to listing taken rate, with your overall expireds, but if we don't know what area inside your overall funnel to fix, dude, is it your dialed conversation rate? Is that lower than it should be? Is it your conversation to appointment set rate? Okay, that means that your skill set's low. Right? Like you don't know, you're not coming with the right pre-frame, the right script, the right tonality. You don't know how to navigate the conversations, see the core objections, and navigate through those. So is it a skill set thing? Is it a process thing? Maybe you're good at all the front end. You're just flopping like you're just shitting the bed when it comes to the actual listing presentation, or maybe you're getting the clients, but maybe you're just pricing the properties wrong, and you don't know how to go out there and put offers together and negotiate deals. And maybe your listing taken to closing rate is low. We got to know which area that you need improvement on. And we got to always be focusing at maximizing, optimizing for each ratio. Again, we're talking, and I know that this might sound like a lot. It's all really actually easy and simple to do. If you're not doing any of this, it can sound overwhelming, but don't allow it to. Overwhelm as a choice, right? Like this stuff isn't hard. It's easy to do. It's easy to get dialed in at. I take brand new agents all the time and get them dialed in on all of this shit in like 2 weeks. Like it's very easy to go out there and do. So don't allow yourself to get blocked by the excuse of, oh, this is going to take forever, because it doesn't, but we're talking about you becoming a top listing agent. Dude, if you're making 480 grand a year in this business, dude, you're in the top 1%. And not just in this business, you're making 480 grand a year. You're in the top 1% of income earners, in the United States. So we're talking about like you got to be a professional. This is what professionals do. Like if you want to go out there and be an amateur, like the average realtor out there and only make 30 or 40 grand total a year, gross before splits, okay, then don't do these things, right? Okay, so then from there, now the next element, so we're tracking the data. Okay, so then element number 8 here is skill set. So our skill set, and we have skill set applied to, okay, this is how good we are at doing these things, right? So you're going to need this phone skill set, and this is why it's so easy to crush it right now, because 99% of our industry has such low level skill set. People have lost the ability to go out there and have effective conversations. They just fucking suck at this, dude, right? So it's like fishing with dynamite. It takes like a day. Maybe, when I say a day, like we can get you better than 99% of this industry in a day with your skill set. Then from there, it might take, a couple of weeks of, working through these calls and like to really hone this stuff in, but it's fast, man. This stuff is so quick to get dialed in. Quit allowing people to trick you thinking that this is going to take, it takes 10,000 hours to become good at anything. That's all bullshit, dude. Like if you know what to do and when to do it, and maybe 10,000 hours if you're trying to reinvent the wheel. And but if I can plug into, all the right skills and the processes, whatever, like I can get this shit down fast. This is not a long time thing, but you got to be able, you got to know the, pre-framing, You got to know reframing. You got to know tonality. You got to know pacing. You got to know how to be able to identify the true core objections, AKA concerns, AKA problems, be able to peel back the onion layers on those and how to navigate through and keep those things moving forward, right? You got to know how to do those things. But then from there, you got to also have the skill set on appointment confirmation. Got to have the skill set on the listing presentation. Yeah, right. You got to have the skill set on how to list these properties, especially now that we're entering a market where, 75% of things are selling, 25% aren't selling, which is average, right? Like that's normal. So many people are like, oh, I can't wait for this market to return to normal. I'm like, dude, this is pretty much normal. What we experienced from 2012 to middle of 2022 was abnormal. And we'll probably never experience anything like that again. Like, welcome to normal now, right? Like, this is where it takes skill. It takes skill to price things and get things sold and put deals together. And so these are all like skill set is just how well do I do the thing that I'm doing, right? Then from there, the last element is daily schedule. So here's what I recommend. Okay. So here's an example schedule. Like if I'm going to go out there and I want to make 40 grand a month, 480 grand a year as an individual agent, no admin, no team. Like this is the schedule I'd follow. Okay. 6 a.m. I'm in the office, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Oh, well, Josh, that's early. Look, I'm not saying you got to follow the schedule. I'm just saying, but to me, okay, like you want to make 40 grand, like so many people want, to make the 40 grand a month, which is good money, not fantastic money, but it's, pretty damn good money. Yeah. Right. But then they're unwilling to do the work. Okay. Like starting a work day at 6 a.m. isn't that difficult, right? Now I get that you might have kids, you might not be able to. Okay. Like you can adjust this accordingly, but I'm just giving you like, here's what I would do. Okay. Be in the office at 6 a.m. every single day, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. is where I would, just follow up with any emails that I can follow up with, plus getting all the prep work ready for my strategy calls, my intentional outbound, strategic calls, to go out there and acquire these listings. So then that way by 8 a.m., like from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., boom, I'm on the dialer, making sure that I'm having 100 dials and 10 conversations Monday through Friday. Then from there, 10 a.m. to noon, that's where I'm doing any kind of paperwork, client updates, any of that stuff. So then from there, noon on, I'm pounding the pavement. Yeah, right. That's going to be listing appointments, buyer consultations, like anything in the field that I need to go out there and do, and then any downtime I have with that, then boom, I'm going to go back and phone prospect more and just go out there and make more money. Right. But then that way, every day by noon, I have all my core shit done. The rest of the day stacked for listing presentations, whatever it is that I need to do, as far as servicing, my appointment conductions and then servicing the business that I already have, putting those deals together, meeting clients to sign offers, whatever that is, right? Like you guys all kind of get and understand that. So from, 6 a.m. to noon, boom, I got all that core shit done. Then noon on, let's just say from noon to 6 p.m., I'm able to fit in all my appointments, all my presentations. Right. So this is a Monday through Friday schedule. Then weekends. Okay, I'll go take weekends off. Right. Doesn't mean that I'm still not, I might have miscellaneous appointments. I might have to go out there and field agent calls or put some deals together. But for the most part, I don't have to go out there and because I've already slated during the week. I can kick back a little bit more, enjoy the weekends, and let all these other agents go out there and show all the properties and whatnot from there. So that it would be the recommended schedule. So if we recap on this, okay, we got the right strategies in place, making sure that you have the right processes in place. You know what your daily and weekly numbers are when it comes to dials, conversations, appointments set, listings taken rate. You got your dialer in place. You know where to get your data from. You got your right CRM set up to really, that's where you're going to house all your processes, right? You've got your phone prospecting tracker in place where you can track all this data. And, we're in a business. What professionals understand is small, tiny hinges swing big ass doors. You've got your skill set dialed in. Then from there, you got your daily schedule that you're adhering to and being strict at following. And you do these 9 things, boom, very quickly. I mean, we're talking like you start doing this right now today, within about 4 months, it'll take you a little while to build up the run rate, but in about 4 months, you'll be hitting the run rate of bam, 40 G's a month, 40 G's a month, 40 G's a month. Like this shit happens fast, if you adhere to these 9 principles that I walked you through today. All right. So as we end this, again, I just want to invite you in case you need this. If you need help, man, I'm here to support. I got your back every step of the way. So if you're an individual agent, or an agent on a team, or if you're a team leader or you're a brokerage owner, doesn't matter what level that you're at. But look, you don't know exactly what you need to do to get you from where you're at to where you want to go. And whether your business is down, whether it's stagnant, maybe it's even growing, it's just not growing at the pace and the rate that you want. It's like you're operating down here, but you know your potential's up here. You want to go out there and do something amazing in this industry. You just don't know how to go out there and do it, right? I want to invite you to schedule a 100% free, 100% zero pressure coaching call with me personally. This is going to be a 1 hour long Zoom call. That's going to be me and you. We're going to do a deep dive breakdown in your business, where your business is currently at, what your 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals are, what you're currently doing, what your biggest obstacles are. Then from there, based on your situation and based on what your goals are, I'm going to walk you through exactly what I recommend to do. Like if we were to switch roles, and if I were you and if I were in your shoes, here's exactly what I would do to get from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. Right. And I promise you, like, I will get you dialed in. And I'm not trying to be cocky or arrogant, but I'm a guy that, like, look, I've sold over 7,000 homes, well over $2 billion in real estate. I've done, each level of this industry, whether it be from the individual side to building, becoming one of the top realtors on the planet, to become one of the top team leaders on the planet, to now having, over 100 locations, through the franchising company throughout the, so whether it be, launch of brokerages, whether it be teams, I have the expertise and experience. I've been through it and I know what to do and what not to do. I've made the mistakes so you can avoid those, right? So sometimes it takes that outside perspective to be able to just walk through and show us exactly what to do. So I will make sure before the end of this call, you know exactly what you must do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. So think of it this way, like maybe you're in the quicksand right now and you're drowning in the quicksand. I see you. I'm tossing you the rope. All you got to do is grab the rope and I will yank you out. But if you don't grab the rope, I can't pull you out, right? So I'm throwing you that lifeline right now. You got nothing to lose, everything to gain. I promise you, I will help you get dialed in. Now, full disclosure, at the very end of this call, I'm going to spend a couple minutes walking you through what my coaching program is, what it entails. Look, if it's a fit, if it's a fit for you, great. If it's not, that's okay too. We can still be friends. I will still make sure that this call is so powerful, whether you ever do business with me or not in a coaching capacity, you will not leave this call without knowing exactly what to do to get from where you're at to where it is that you want to go. You have my word on that. So if this is something that you want to take advantage of, because I'm not going to be able to do these forever. So if it's something that you want to take advantage of, go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Hope to see you on the call. Truly appreciate you guys' support. Go out there and start stacking those listings right now here in 2024. Keep crushing it. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.